Hey guys, Ken Smith. Boat number 2 in our series is going to be a Charger 210 Elite. I tell you, I've just spent a couple minutes in this boat loading my stuff in it. By the way, this boat is Charger Bob, for those of you who know Clint and Stacy of Outlaw Outdoors. So I got Charger Bob out here today. This is a great big boat, which is funny for me to say because I'm in a 21-foot boat, and now I'm curious, I'll put it at the bottom. I'm not comparing these boats to my Ranger, but I kind of am, right? It's my point of reference. It's what I've been in for the last couple of years. This boat feels longer than my boat. I don't believe that it is, but again, there's the stats right below. It's a pretty boat. It's a big boat. I suspect it's going to be a really good riding boat, but I don't know. So I'm really looking forward to spending the morning or morning and part of the afternoon in this boat, and I'll kind of walk you through it real quick. By the way, absolute just free plug. They pull it with this Dodge Ram Weaver motor. There you go, Kirbyville, Texas. That is a beast. And by the way, I might have accidentally spun the tires when I got up on the highway. So it's a more traditional box layout than what you see, than what we saw in the Bass Cat. You know, he's running Talons. We're going to be running today the same motor, the Mercury. Wow, they're turning a 25 pitch 3-blade Fury on this boat. I'll be real curious to see how it turns. Bob's jack plate, adjustable jack plate. We get to play with the 360 mega imaging today. It's a dual console. Now, I'm a fan of dual consoles. I know a lot of guys aren't. I am. You know, Sarah rides along with me quite a bit. Got stackable graphs on the front. I'll do our measurements when we get on the water, but it looks like it's going to be a little bit narrower boat. I know the beam is slightly narrower than mine. I sat in the seats. I like the seats. We'll talk more about them once we get in the boat. But that's just a real quick walk around on the Charger 210 Elite. You can see it's a big, deep boat. We got pretty good wind today, as you can see from the flags there. So we're going to be able to put this boat through her paces. Let's go fishing. Same as the Puma, by the way. Super comfortable, huge cockpit. Tons and tons of leg room up under there on both sides. So lots of leg room. I didn't mention this on the Puma. It's got a tiny windshield, but they've angled it up to a point that it really throws the wind over your head good, which I like. These maybe don't do quite as good a job, even though it's a much larger windshield, interestingly. So I don't know about the instrument panel down there. It's all push buttons. It's not what I'm used to. It doesn't bother me. It's clean looking, except for that second key. That seems really weird to me, but I guess the smart thing behind the second key is you could turn your power off at night and pull your key, and nobody could come by messing with you and turn your power on where your power runs all night long. So I hadn't thought about that, but I guess that would be an advantage. I'm gonna stop right here because this is what I like about borrowing a boat from a buddy and from somebody who will tell me the truth. So the only way to know what's good and what's bad in these boats sometimes is to spend some time in them. And I mentioned the dash to Clint, and I said, what do you like about those, or what do you think about those push buttons? And he said, well, I'm fine with the push buttons, but there's a problem with them. And I never would have thought about this not having seen it. He says, you can't tell what you push. So if you think about it, when I crank my boat, my pad lights up and it shows, you know, I can see lights, I can see live well, because it actually says it on the little label what it is. This one, it's actually printed below it and it doesn't light up. So he said, when you get in it in the morning and there's a bunch of buttons down there, you've got to turn your phone or your flashlight on and shine it down there to see what button to push. So as soon as I heard that, he said, I don't like it at all. And I agree with him. That's poorly thought out and not something I would have noticed. So I tell you guys that to say this to you. If you're one of the guys that I borrow boats from, and look, we all want to defend what we spent $70,000 or $80,000 on, right? For this purposes, we need to be able to say, and the feedback that you guys are giving me below, I've gotten a lot of good feedback, but I get a lot of feedback that this is the best boat ever because I drive it. Well, let's be truthful with each other about it and say, well, you know, here's what I would change. And that's one of the things I'm going to ask you when I borrow your boat. If there were three things you could change about this boat, what would it be? And I think in this case, this would absolutely be one. And I'm going to talk about this in my summary at the end. This is one of those things that they've built a really nice boat, but there's just some things that it would just take so little a change. I mean, it just wouldn't take much effort at all to make this boat a heck of a lot better boat, a really much better boat. And this is one of them. It's got two nice deep boxes on the back deck, right? And then, not been in here yet, so let's scope this out. Oh, that's nice, it's finished, it's carpeted, but see, the batteries are a little bit difficult to get to over here, and they're just a traditional strap down method. And it looks like maybe you can open this and get to the sun. Yeah, so you can't see that, but that's a floor that lifts out. Let me get it fixed back in there. So that little piece of carpet is a trap door, and you can actually lift it up and get to your sumps real easy. Not sure where you would put power pole pumps in here. He runs Talons, probably right back there. But I like it. It's nice and open. It's easy to get to. Again, it's pointed the right direction. I've talked about this in the Ranger. I don't like mine. Actually blew open in rough water and broke the lid piece off, the little compression lid. What else? Dual console, which you guys know I like, but you can get them on all boats. It's a real fishable boat. I'd say from the interior, it's got, by the way, good carpet, heavily padded. Real fishable boat. It's a big boat, but you know, I'm probably looking for a big boat. Rod storage over there for your co-angler, but like the other boat that I didn't like, those little cheapy rubber bands, and they could fix that on this boat, I think. That gunnel may be so low that they couldn't get a retractable rod saver in there, but you know, I don't like those. I would rather have something a little nicer looking, a little cleaner looking for a $70,000 bass boat, $60,000, whatever these things are costing these days. So, by the way, for sight fishermen, I guess that's a pretty cool little platform to get to right there, where you can get all the way to the front in front of your electronics. And it does not have the fancy thing on the back where you can step off. It does have your plug right there, where you plug in your chargers. That's nice. It's a real clean looking back end. You can see the live well overflow right there. I've got the live wells cranked. A couple of other things I've noted as I'm riding in, the seat does not adjust up and back. That just seems to make sense to me. Clint's got some long legs, because I can barely reach his, I'm a 36 inch inseam, and I can barely reach his hot foot, but a lot of cockfoot room. That's a very comfortable position to have that spare foot end, your left foot end, to kind of stabilize yourself. That was way forward on that Puma. This one's more traditional like mine. And then the boat has great lifts. I thought I'd show you that lift. I think I've got it trimmed down. So that was live wells empty. Quite a bit better hole shot. But watch how this boat lifts. Okay guys, so welcome to Outlaw Outdoors World Headquarters, also here in Zavala, Texas. So kind of a wrap on Charger Bob today. It's a fine fishing platform. I am going to score it very poorly for the trailer. And by the way, also let me point out, the light strip that was in the box that had fallen loose, that's not a Charger issue. That was an Outlaw Outdoors install job that fell apart. But they did note that the lighting in the boxes is not good. Of course, it was daylight, so I couldn't see that. So the light strip that fell out was not something Charger did. But the trailer, I have never had. So I've owned, I think I counted 7 different brands of boats and have loaded countless other ones. You know, Clay ran a Gambler, Bill ran a Bass Cat, Dickie ran Rangers, a bunch of different models. I ran Skeeters, Kevin runs Skeeters. I've never had a problem putting a boat on a trailer before. This one gave me fits. It doesn't feel like it rides right on the trailer. The boat is way over on top of the fender. With any crosswind, it drifts over. You got to put the trailer really deep in the water, and it doesn't want to center itself. I could not get this trailer on the boat, this boat on the trailer by myself. I had to have a guy get in the truck and maneuver it back and forth. Now, you could say, well, once you've done it enough, you can figure it out, but truth be told, with different angles on different ramps, that's not the case. And Outlaw, Clint and Stacy did say they have had problems getting this boat on the trailer. It's not easy to do. That seems like something Charger could fix if they cared, but maybe they don't care. I score it poorly. By the way, it's metal fenders. I don't care about that. Actually, metal fenders are better if you ever blow a tire. They're not as pretty. It does not have shocks. It does not have a parking brake. I was going to give it a hard time because when you go to step out of the boat right here by yourself, there's nowhere to step. I could not reach that comfortably. And so I was going to beat them up a little bit about that. But come to find out, the boat actually came with a paw step on it, which is what I like. I don't have one, but I like the idea and I like them. And Clint didn't like it, thought it was in the way, so he took it off. So you can get that. I will also say that the winch is not a good winch that they put on this boat. You can just tell it. My boat, I can crank that boat up on the trailer almost on dry land without a lot of effort. That one's it's just not a good winch. So again, from an amenity standpoint, there's nothing outstanding. The glass work on the boat's pretty. The fit and finish looks good. With a few minor details. I mean, it's not, so there you go. I'd qualify it as good. Certainly not anything better than good. The boat's super fishable, but it's not my next boat. I want more out of a boat. It's a fine riding boat. I would have no problem fishing in this boat. If I got in a bind and needed to borrow a boat, especially if it was going to be a bad water tournament, this would be an ideal boat to be in. It's not a boat I think I want to own. So that's the process I'm working through. Some guys may love this boat. Again, I was real pleased with the performance of the boat for such a big boat. But it's not my next boat, which is what I'm trying to work through here. A couple of other things that, by the way, surprised me about this boat. This boat's 2 inches longer than my boat, but it's 25 pounds lighter. What I will say to you is, it is a very, and I'm going to use this word a lot, it's a very solid feeling boat, and it lands soft, which is something I really like. And the way the bottom of the boat's laid out, it throws the water out to the side so you don't get wet when you got cross drop. Now, you get in big enough water, you're going to get wet in a battleship, but in this boat, compared to everything else I've driven or ridden in the last couple of years, it's a dry ride. So again, fine boat. I would not, I would fish out of the boat every day, but it's not my next boat. So we'll move on to the next boat and we'll continue my search. And who knows, I may still be in a Ranger Z boat, Z521C or V521L next year. But we're going to keep working through them, and I'm going to keep sharing these videos with you. So let's go do our summary. Let's score this boat up, and let's see how it does. I'm going to do that at the house once I've cooled off and once I kind of think through everything and watch this video. So let's go score it. Okay, guys, let's score Charger Bob. So Charger Bob is a Charger 210 Elite. As we talked about earlier in this video, we didn't address this in the Bass Cat video, but I'm looking at these boats sort of in two price categories. I'm not looking to see exactly what the price is for a lot of reasons, options, negotiations, what part of the country you're in, you know, if a boat's cheaper or more expensive there. But what I am saying is there's kind of value priced boats and there's kind of premium priced boats. And what I can tell you is this boat falls in that premium price boat category. You just saw Sarah's shadow move across behind me there with Hollis. So this boat is in the $70,000+ range. So it's going to be judged accordingly. So we score 6 categories, 5 base categories to get you to 100. Each category is 0 to 20. And then we're going to throw in contingency money for the tournament fishermen. For those who fish tournaments, you need to put some weight in that as well. So 0 to 9 is less. And by the way, before I go there, some guys brought up warranty in my first video. And I'm hesitant to put a lot of weight in warranty. And here's why. So for example, Bass Cat and Charger both have limited lifetime warranties on their hulls. But as I started reading through both of them, there's just a whole lot of caveats and we don't covers. And so that's research I'm going to leave to you when you narrow it down to the boats you like. And I'll do the same thing. It's just too granular, and I'm just not going to get into warranty. So I am concerned with service availability, which I address in the last video, and I'll address in this one as well in the scoring. But I'm leaving warranty sort of out of the mix here. But both these boats do have what I'm going to term limited lifetime warranties on the hull, and I to some degree I'm going to say glass work. But again, you kind of got to read through them because it's not absolutely glass work. So 0 to 9 per category is going to be less than average. You didn't do a good job there, guys. 10 to 12 is average. 13 to 16 is good. 17, 18 is excellent. 19 or 20, you blew my socks off in performance or something. Overall scoring 0 to 45 is less than average, and they got work to do, right? It's probably not a boat that I'm even interested in owning. 46 to 60 is average. And I would say, I would consider a boat in the lower or in the top half of average or in the lower half of good, right? In the low 60s, if it was a value boat, if I'm not paying $79,000 for the boat. If that boat's in the 40s or the 50s, I would consider that. 61 to 80 again is good, but if it's a premium value boat, it's going to have to be way on the top end of that scale before I consider owning it. 81 to 90 is excellent, and 91 plus, it's just not going to happen. But if it does, that would be amazing. It would just be amazing. And you'll see, I'm being stingy with the points here. I'm not just throwing points around because, as I say at the top there, no participation trophies. So let's talk about Charger Bob. Okay, fishability. So the gunnels are low. I like that. It's pretty standard these days. You don't see a lot of real high gunnels, but you know, it's something that concerns me because I like to pitch. I'm a power fisherman. It's not cluttered up front. There's easy access to the trim buttons. They're mounted on the port side, so they're protected when the trolling motor's up. And when the trolling motor's deployed, they're easy to get to with your feet. I want to be able to trim my motor up and down like I can move my power poles up and down with my feet. The Ranger is over on the starboard side, my Ranger. They're hard to get to, so I like that a lot. The front deck is much closer to a width. So again, we measured the width at the seat poles, carpet to carpet, the area you can stand in. 61.5 inches is just a couple of 4 or 5 inches off of what I'm used to. And it's pretty stable. So it does have a 1.5 degree tilt. And by the way, so the way I'm measuring that, if you go back to that tilt test, the boat was sitting at about a 1.4 degree tilt when I was standing in the middle, sort of in neutral position, because of the way they've got that boat loaded. A lot of tackle and his tools are on the starboard side on the front of the boat, right on the bow of the boat in that great big box up there. So what I did was I took into account how much it tilted off that 1.4% one way or the other, and it was about 1.5 degrees. And yeah, it was a little more here and there, but that was kind of what I saw as the average. I looked at that footage a lot to make that decision. So it's a little bit less tilty, if you will, than the Bass Cat hybrid boat, but I'm not now. I've done the Ranger. I can't remember now what the Ranger number is, but it's less than that for sure. So The one negative I saw about Fishability is when the trolling motor is in the stowed position, the port side where your rods and reels go there is really, really crowded. I can pile 7 or 8 rods up on mine, and I do, on the port side, and you can't do that in this boat because it's just super crowded up there the way that trolling motor folds, where it folds on the deck. And that I did not like. Fit and finish, it's got good carpet on it. It's got padded decks. The boat, again, I said this earlier, it feels really, really solid running. I like the seats. They're comfortable seats. They're more comfortable seats than my boat. Tons of driver and passenger legroom, even though it's a dual console. It's got a huge live well. 40-gallon live well is the largest by a pretty good margin of any boat I've looked at. It's 10% bigger than the Ranger and more than 20, or I'd have to do the numbers, but it's way bigger at, the other one only holds 27 gallons, the Bass Cat boat. The other thing I do really like, by the way, so my boat and the Pantera boat, although it's a divided live well, it is a single live well. I like being able to control the water levels in both live wells. So again, if I'm out fishing by myself and I want to put fish in a live well, I can put them on the port side, and once again, it's about load. I know I talk about that a lot, but I want that boat to be level in the water so I can fill my port live well up, not fill my starboard live well up. During a tournament day, if my co-angler or I start catching fish and the other one's not, I'm carrying around half as much water until we need to put water in another live well, so I really like that. Negatives on fit and finish. That's a terrible ice chest. I'm sorry. It doesn't latch. It's a flimsy top. It won't hold ice. The boxes don't have locks on them. Now granted, you can get a locker bar, and I think actually a locker bar may be standard, but I don't always want to put my locker bar. I mean, I do this a lot where I swing through the Walmart and lock the boxes just to run inside for a second. I don't have to put my locker bar on or go in a store to get gas or whatever. I don't like the nylon pulls. I could probably get used to that, and maybe I could. I don't know. Maybe you can pull on them harder, if you've got ice in your boxes. But I just didn't like them. And the thing that Clint pointed out about the dash, and that is that when the dash lights up, it doesn't light up any kind of background, so you can see what buttons you're pushed. So you can't see nav lights or anything. You got to actually get a flashlight or get your phone out and turn the flashlight on your phone to be able to see that. So I don't know if I totaled those, but on Fishability, I scored it a 16, which is good. On fit and finish, I just scored it a 14, which is also good, but it's on the lower end of good. Performance, I scored this boat 17. I scored it excellent. It's got good speed, high 60s, low 70s for a great big boat. 21-foot, 10-inch boat. It's a dry boat, just like Chargers and Champions. It throws that side splash out to the side. It's an excellent big water boat. I said it in the video. If of the boats I'm familiar with, which are 4 right now, if I had to run across Lake Erie, this would be the boat I'd want to do it in at the moment. It's got good nose control for trailing seas. It's got a decent hole shot. You saw it was a much better hole shot in video 2 with the live wells empty. It was about a 4-second hole shot versus 1 when the live wells were full. It's going to drop off a little bit if you put a second guy in the boat or girl, but pretty good hole shot for, again, a great big boat, especially considering that boat's turning a 25 pitch 3-blade Fury. The only ding on this boat, and I told you it's going to be really hard for somebody to score higher than this, is it's not super fast. It's a give and a take, right? You're going to outrun a lot of guys in this boat who have super fast boats the 55% of the days on Revard when there's more than 2 footers on it. That's just a fact. You can run this boat really fast in great big water when you can't do that in a lot of other boats. Amenities, probably one of the areas I ding this boat on. It's got good sump access. It's got that driver cleat I like where you can tie your boat off to a dock. I guess I looked it up. Walker bar standard on it. I really do like rod boxes on either side. So it's got the exact same setup front and back where your rods go in the front and the tubes, and the back where they strap down. I like that so that I can choose to put rods on the starboard side, which is where I do it, again, back to load. I was assured that the dash would hold a 12-inch unit flush. I put an asterisk there to remind myself. I didn't mention that in the Bass Cat video. And that was one thing I did ding it mentally on the Basscat video. I just didn't put it in the scoring, that it would only hold a 10-inch unit in the dash. We've had 12-inch units for a long time. That's something I feel like they need to engineer that up a little bit better so that you can put a 12-inch unit flush mount in that dash, because I like having a unit flush mounts. Negatives, I dinged it for those rubber band rod holders. I don't like those. The seats don't adjust. There's not a USB port in this boat. The front storage seemed a little bit shallow. It didn't seem, it is a little bit shallow. And something that I love on my Ranger boats, and I love it because I once dumped a boat in Sandlin in about 55-degree water and realized I didn't have my plug in and had to literally get in the water because there was a line to get in there was a line of boats to back in, and my boat was filling up with water fast. I had to get in the water in my underwear to put the plug in. I love remote access. On my Ranger, there's a flip switch in the splash well that opens and closes the plug. And this boat nor the Basscat, that's why there's an asterisk there. I wanted to remember to mention that. Neither one of them have that, and that just seems, in a premium price boat, that's just easy technology to put in a boat. So I dinged this boat for that as well. So I scored it a 12. It's just average, right? There's nothing fancy about this boat. The lights aren't fancy. Clinton mentioned that the boxes don't light up real well. So it's at a 12, and that's just where I'm going to score this boat. So it is at the top of the average, but it's just average. And then the place where I beat this boat up the most is kind of trailer and other stuff. Now, the positives are it does come with the old guy step. It's got LED backup lights, again, kind of standard on boats these days. Swing tongue, same way, and oil bath hubs, same way. It does, again, I'm told that I'm sorry guys, I'm drawing a blank on this. Torsion axles. One of my readers said that's a really nice thing to have. So that falls in the positive here, although I didn't list it. But negatives on this. No parking brakes. Again, that seems just to me like something you should have on a trailer. And I know you can accidentally, I know 2 different people now who accidentally pulled the boat down the road with the trailer brakes on, but that's not a fault of having it, that's just not paying attention. No shocks, but again, got that torsion axle. The winch on the front of the boat has no power. So I didn't mention this in the video. I couldn't get the boat to snug up. I couldn't get it in the right place in the water. It just made me crazy trying to get this boat trailered. And with my winch, I can crank it up and it'll pull the boat up on the trailer. This one won't. It just doesn't have any juice. It's just, the trailer, it's got metal fenders. It's just not what I would call a premium quality looking trailer. The other thing that I ding this boat on bad, so I don't recall if I talk about it in the video, but even the dealer that they bought this boat from, which was all the way up by Lake Fork, which is a couple hours away, they don't even carry chargers anymore. So access to service for this boat, I think there's a dealer in Houston, but I think it's a smaller charger dealer. It's going to be hard to get service on this boat anywhere around Rayburn area, and that hurts for me. My interest, or lowers my interest in buying a boat like that. And the other thing, I didn't put it on the points for the Basscat, although mentally I did. I just forgot to list it. There's no place to store net in this boat. There's no sneaky cool hidden net storage. It's either hanging on your, hanging on the front deck under one of your rod savers. It's over a seat, or it's in the floor in the way. And I've busted my butt several times with my Ranger with it being in the floor when it catches my flip-flops, because I do like fishing in flip-flops. So I score that boat a 9 there. So I score the Charger 210 Elite 68, which is just mid-range good. And it's funny, Clint and I have talked about this a little bit. They live less than a mile from the boat ramp. They don't care as much about the trailer. They always load it with 2 people, because he and Stacy always fish together. I understand why he bought this boat. He wanted to be in a great big boat, because they are absolute, strictly offshore fishermen. If he can throw it to the bank, something's wrong during his day. I mean, they're offshore. I understand why they bought this boat, but he did not disagree with my scoring on this boat and what I beat this boat up about. The last thing we'll talk about, and again, if you've been in a great big champion, you'll probably like this boat. You're not going to like the trailer, but you're going to like the boat better than I did. It's a fine fishing platform. But for the money, and that's the frustrating thing. I guess let me just go out there and say that. The frustrating thing about this boat to me is for the money they're charging for this boat. Now, if you don't know this, the folks who make chargers make other pleasure craft too, and they don't make a lot of chargers. It would take so little effort for this to be a 85 scoring boat. I mean, just so little effort of cleaning some stuff up on the amenities and adding a few things and putting a better trailer under this boat. I don't get it. I do get it, right? It's not what they do. They're more about building other boats than they are about charger. But boy, for as quality a boat as they're building, they could make this boat score a lot better, be a lot more appealing to a lot of guys without a whole heck of a lot of effort. And to that point, their contingency program, you can score 0 to 20. Well, they don't have one, so they score 0. And again, it's not their deal. I mean, it really feels to me like they make bass boats just because. They're not real interested in gathering a chunk of the bass boat market, and they're not. So you don't see a ton of these boats out there. Most guys who own them are happy with them because they bought them for the reasons that I mentioned in the performance. But 68 and a 0 puts it firmly in this category of a boat I'm probably not going to own anytime soon. So the next boat we'll review will be my Ranger Z521C. We'll get that up in the next week, and then we're looking at a Phoenix. And don't worry, we're going to get to the Falcon, we're going to get to the Camus, we're going to get to the Triton, we're going to get to the Nitro, we're going to get to everything that you guys have mentioned. Several of you want me to look at Go Fast boats. If I can track them down, I'm going to do it. I'm going to look at a Vexus. We're going to look at something else somebody wanted me to look at specifically. We're going to look at a Pro Gator. We're going to look at a lot of other boats. So stick around, stick with me through this process, and I think we'll all learn a little bit. And it's also fun seeing how guys set their boats up. So we'll continue to share that as well. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the shares. I'm glad you guys are enjoying these as much as I'm enjoying them doing them. And I'll see you again here in just a couple days in the Big Ranger. Thanks, guys.